an unusual artwork. This time, they chose to buy a line of people. Actually, that's not quite right. They didn't buy the people per se, that's illegal nowadays, but they did buy the line. Or, more precisely, a bit of paper upon which the Slovakian artist Roman Ondak had written the instructions for a performance artwork that involved hiring a handful of actors to form a line. He specified on the piece of paper that the actors create an artificial queue outside a doorway or inside an art exhibition. Once in position, or installed in art speak, they were all to adopt an air of patient expectation as if waiting for something to happen. The idea being that their presence would intrigue and attract passers-by who might then either join the queue, which, in my experience, they often did, or perhaps walk along beside it, eyebrows furrowed in quizzical inspection, wondering what they could be missing. It's an amusing idea, but is it art? If a bricklayer could have come up with Carl Andre's equivalent 8, then Ondak's spoof queue could be considered to be at the more whimsical end of the jackass genre. The media were bound to go nuts. Yet there was not so much as a murmur. No criticism, no outrage, not even a selection of wryly mocking headlines from the wittier members of the tabloid press. Nothing. The only coverage the acquisition received was a couple of approving lines in the more artily inclined upmarket newspapers. So what has happened over those 30 years? What has changed? Why has modern and contemporary art gone from being widely seen as a bad joke to something that is respected and revered around the world? Money has something to do with it. A huge amount of cash has flowed into the art world over the last few decades. State finances have been lavished on smartening up old museums and building new ones. The fall of communism and the deregulation of markets have led to globalization and the emergence of an international super-rich class, with art the sound investment of choice for the newly affluent. While stock markets have crashed and banks have gone bust, the value of top-end modern art has kept on rising, as has the number of people coming into the market. A few years ago, Sotheby's, the international auction house, would reckon on having bidders from 3 countries represented in the room for one of its major modern art sales. That number can now be well over 40, including new wealthy collectors from China, India, and South America, which means basic market economics have come into play. It's a case of supply and demand, with the latter far outstripping the former. The value of highly regarded work by dead, therefore unproductive, artists such as Picasso, Warhol, Pollock, and Giacometti continues to go up like an elevator. Price is being driven up by freshly minted bankers and shadowy oligarchs, ambitious provincial towns, and tourist-orientated countries wanting to do a Bilbao, that is, to transform their reputations and raise their profile by commissioning an eye-catching modern art gallery. They have all discovered that buying a mansion or building a state-of-the-art museum is the easy part. Filling it with some half-decent art that will impress visitors is much harder. And that's because there's not a lot of it about. And if there's no high-quality classic modern art available, the next best thing is contemporary modern art, the work of living artists. Here again, prices have risen inexorably for those artists deemed to be A-list, such as the American pop artist Jeff Koons. Koons is famous for producing a giant flower-encrusted puppy, 1992, which you can view in several different locations on his website at www.jeffkoons.com. as well as numerous aluminium cartoon figures that appear to have been made out of balloons. In the mid-1990s, you could buy a work by Koons for a few $100,000. By 2010, his candy-coloured sculptures were selling for millions. He'd become a brand name, his art as instantly recognisable to those in the know as the Nike logo. He's one of many living artists who've become very wealthy in a remarkably short space of time on the back of this fine art boom. Once impoverished artists are now multimillionaires with all the trappings of movie stars, celebrity friends, private jets, and an insatiable media keen to report their every glamorous move. The booming, glossy magazine sector of the late 20th century was delighted to help build the public profile of this new, media-savvy generation of artists. Images of colourful, creative people standing alongside their colourful art, which had been hung in glitzy designer spaces in which the rich and famous mingled, were the kind of voyeuristic visual feast that the magazine's aspirational readers eagerly devoured. The Tate Gallery even employed the publisher of Vogue to produce their Tate Members magazine. These publications, along with newspaper colour supplements, created a new, trendy, cosmopolitan audience for new, trendy, cosmopolitan art and artists. It was a youthful crowd, bored by all those brown old paintings.